Yes, Poornima, I think it will be better to start, ma'am.
Yeah. So, would like to welcome all and I request I to go on mute so that you can unmute when you have to talk. Otherwise, there will be a lot of background noise and interference. So I request all of you to mute, and before you talk, you can raise your hand and unmute. Okay. So in case there is some disturbance, as a host, the host will be muting you in case there is a background noise. So please unmute before you talk. And welcome all. I think we have Parshuram sir also online now.
Yeah, now I'm okay, I think, because
Yes.
my connection was very poor. I was in a different room, so I thought there'll be no problem, but I had to change the room and connect it directly. So I think, should we start now? Sunil sir, what do you say?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody here. I welcome all the participants from different parts of Nepal and from India. And we are 7 of us here who are going to facilitate this workshop for 6 days, starting from today and until Friday. So I think the ground rules have been already told by Dr. Poornima. And just to tell a few things about our team. We have teamed up. Smart Minds is a teachers training academy based in Lagankhel in Lalitpur in Kathmandu. And we have Vishmaya Center for Education and Research in Bangalore. So we have tied up and we have started working together to share our knowledge, because we share a lot of common things. And we thought we will share our common things and empower our teachers, both in India and Nepal. We are not very experts, but we want to just share our experiences, because experience sharing is the biggest thing, because we have experienced quite a lot of ups and downs in the school, in the classroom, and things like that. So we have, I don't know if everybody, all the facilitators are here. Is Poojesh here? Poornima ma'am, is Poojesh, is there?
Yes, yes.
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. So yeah, I can see now. So Poojesh, I'll start with Poojesh, the youngest person in the team. He's expert in marketing, digital marketing, and he's from Harvard and IIM in India. So I'm also excited to listen to him about how we can do a lot of. So he'll tell more, but I'll just tell in brief about personal branding, about branding our institutions. So, and we're talking on that. So, welcome, Poojesh, to the team and to the training. Okay.
Thank you so much. I look forward for meeting you.
Yeah. And we have Pradeep Kumar, Mr. Pradeep Kumar from Bangalore. So Mr. Poojesh is also from Bangalore. Pradeep Kumar sir is also from Bangalore. And he has been in the education for the last 20 years in academic development in different schools as a pedagogical expert. And he has done a lot of innovative methods of teaching. And especially he'll be talking on experiential learning, because we try to keep the children in the classroom, but he has done a lot of things outside. So we can get a lot of insights from what happens outside and how we have to do it. And we have Dr. Poornima. She's a neuroscientist. She has already spoke to you. And she's a neuroscientist, and she's also an educator, pedagogical educator. And she's very keen to share her subject on neuroscience, how neuroscience is very important, because whatever we are doing, we are handling the minds of the children. We are handling the neurons of the children. So how neurons function and things like that. So she will tell more about it. And we have Neelam Mahajan, who is my teammate in Smart Minds. We work together, and she'll be talking on
everyone
integrated curriculum. And because the government has also now in Nepal emphasized the integrated curriculum, and we are all our training programs in Smart Minds are integrated, not because government has started, but we have done it for the last so many years. And we have Akhila Basu ma'am from Bangalore itself, and she has 30+ years of experience in teaching, and she's done masters in learning difficulties. So she is handling a lot of difficult children. So we certainly face a lot of difficult children in the classroom. In every classroom, there are some problems with the children. So we will get an insight of how we identify the LDs, and how do we deal with that issue. So welcome Akila ma'am also. Yes, sir. And we have Sunil Devkota sir, who has been in education for more than a decade, and was a principal in different schools as a coordinator, senior teacher, social studies teacher, and we have been working together for the last 2-3 years. And he has grown up to become a very good trainer, motivator, and motivational speaker. And he'll be talking on leadership, how we should lead the schools in terms of difficulty, in times of difficulty, and perhaps maybe after COVID, what the situations would be like. So I'll be adding here and there some points there also maybe. And even when Neela ma'am is presenting, I'll be adding few points because we are working in a team. So, and myself, I think I forgot. I'm Parsuram Niravla. I've been in education for the last, this is my 40th year. I started teaching back in 1982 April. Since 1982 April, I got my training from Darjeeling, Scotland, and UK. I'll be telling more about my experience, and I'll be talking more on the value of environmental education, because we are facing a lot of environmental issues because of our own wrong actions so far. So I'll be talking about environmental education and education for sustainable development. How can these two elements could be implemented or integrated into our teaching system? I'll be talking briefly on this. So with this, I welcome all of you once again, and I now hand over this, not the floor, if this is not a face-to-face, hand over the screen to Dr. Poornima. Thank you so much, and welcome everybody once again. I hope you'll enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the introduction of the whole team and welcoming all the participants. I am really happy to be here, to be addressing all the, I would say learners, because we are all learning and teaching young children how to learn. So today's topic is also related to, how we learn. So before I start with the neuroscience, I would like to introduce myself and tell about what is the reason I am here today, and what are those experiences that I had that I would like to share. So basically, I would introduce myself as a learner. I get excited to learn new things, and it's always a pleasure to take up something challenging and figure out our way through it, finding answers. I think that is what excites us and keeps us on a learning journey. So, since childhood, I have been motivated to teach, and today is Father's Day. So, I would like to remember, thank my father, who has been an inspiration. So he is a retired professor, and the experiences he shared with us when he got home when we were small about how it happened, how some incidents that happened in the college. He was teaching for 11th, 12th, and graduate students. So he used to come with exciting stories, and he used to have that happiness when he tells that, one student who was finding it very hard, he could pass the exam, and how, a teacher's effort actually helps students to learn. So this those experiences actually inspired me into the path of teaching and learning. So I started teaching mimicking my father. So all my playtime was teaching my friends how to finish their homeworks, and I used to be the teacher. I started my teaching journey, I would say, mimicking my father, trying to be like him. And I hope today he's proud. He keeps telling that, there are so many things I wanted to still do, which I am not able to do now, and you will be able to do. So on this Father's Day, I would like to, I'm feeling happy actually to, talk about him, and it is because of him I am here today. So when throughout the process, there was one point during when I was around 13, 14-year-old that I got very much excited about what we are made of and what makes us what we are, what is the science behind it. And I wanted to look into study more about genetics, how the cells function, what makes the cells function. And then it was a no look back journey till I actually did my research on understanding how brain cells function under disorder, under a diseased condition, a pathological condition. So learning about neurons and the brain cells and how brain works, uh, the very important thing that everyone is excited in neuroscience is learning and memory. That is something that all of us still wonder how exactly is it happening? How do we actually learn? What happens in the brain? There has been a lot of work that has been done. So though this concept of educational neuroscience itself sounds very sophisticated and stuff, I would say that it is not about the sophistication. It's about the common sense. As we will go through the talk today, we will see that these are all common sense about education. All of us know certain things work, certain things don't work. We feel this is better, this is not better. And neuroscience gives a scientific basis of this common sense knowledge that we have. So today's talk is about how we can understand and use the knowledge of how brain works in learning. And before I actually start with the topic, there is one more experience I would like to share. So 3 years back, I was working, I had my research lab and I was working there in biomedical field. I had a lot of interns and PhD students who used to come to the lab, learn. At the same time, I had a toddler at home, my son, who was, on his own natural way of learning. It was such a, drastic comparison I could see. I think that is the main reason why I chose to work in education. So there was a small baby who, where we were not teaching. We cannot teach a baby anything. They are natural learners. They are, they learn their way. They learn how to understand us also. Because when they are born, we come to this world, we don't know what other person is telling. It's slowly that we understand what the other person is trying to tell us. The learning starts from there. Without much prior knowledge, the natural way of learning. On the other hand, I was dealing with 20, 25-year-old students who were already finished their graduations and they were entering into research to apply what they had learned. So there was so much of difference in the levels of curiosity or motivation between these two age groups that I seriously thought, I started studying about pedagogies, educational philosophies, and started understanding what makes us learn. Why is that a child, as all of us, all our brains are having the similar structure, similar cells, similar parts working, though no two brains are alike. At the same time, the natural, all the milestones that we would have passed when we are young are all same. We doctors check the milestones when the babies grow, 0 to 3 months, 3 months to 6 months. These are the things. So it is overall, if you see that, it's like everything is happening in a particular way with every child on this earth. But why is that difference? That after we are growing older, we are losing that natural way of learning. The curiosity is gone. We wait for others to tell us what to do, and that is where I started digging out. And finally, I took a call and I quit my research work, and I wanted to dedicate more into the education aspect to develop innovative pedagogies, work with children, understand and learn how to learn. So in this journey, I'm just a beginner. I am just a toddler who is trying to figure out how we learn, and whatever I have learned till now and my experiences, I would like to share with you all, so that actually try to understand the basis of learning and work and learn, and also teach our children in the classrooms how we learn, what are the better practices. So with that note, I would like to start my presentation. So I hope all of you are able to see my screen. So are all of you able to see the screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. So how we learn, that is what we are going to discuss in the next 1.5 hours. So we will go through the neuroscience perspective about the brain, that how the brain learns, what we know about it, and we will try to apply those learnings and understand how we can make the classroom environment a much better place for experiential learning. So today's talk will actually form a basis for the experiential learning session that will be there tomorrow by Mr. Pradeep. So it's like we understand the scientific basis and why experiential learning is needed, and tomorrow we will dive deeper into the practical aspects and how to actually implement it, and other aspects that Pradeep is going to talk about. So I have been telling neuroscience. What is it? So it is the study of neurons. So neurons are the cells in the brain. So we all know that brain is the part in the body that learns, because we keep telling, your brain is not working, use your brain. We keep using that term. Why? Because it is the brain which is actually learning, and it is storing it, storing new experiences, it's processing it and helping us think and apply whatever we learned. So it is those cells that make up this brain. These are the cells, neurons, that form the basis of learning. So when we learn, as and when we learn, there are some physical changes that happen in the brain. So it's not that it is just some imaginary thing, it's actually physically the neurons, the brain cells change. Okay, and this during the next slides we will be discussing what happens in the brain when we are learning. Can we rewire? Does it work? So what is plasticity? What is lifelong learning? And the basis of universal design of learning, that is especially important in this current scenario where we are trying to blend digital learning as well as physical learning in classrooms. And how can we apply it in the classroom? So brain learns, and when it learns, it causes physical changes in the brain. So this is called as plasticity. So brain can change. It is not a fixed structure. Every time, every experience, every minute we are here talking, listening to each other, our brain is working. It's continuously working. So these neurons are like wires. They're long cells in the body, and these cells are connected to each other as if the wires in the house are connected. And it is those electrical impulses, exactly like the electrical wiring in the house, that our body is wired. So there are neurons connecting every part of the body, every cell of the body to the brain, and in the brain they process. So any action, any if you touch some flame, you immediately lift your finger. All this is because of the fast electrical communication that goes from the tip, which is heard, to the brain, and the brain will ask the hand to lift, move, so that we move it. So everything happens, all these communications happen very fast. But the changes that happen in the brain are a little slow, but there are mechanisms where there is some fast changes, and then that is stored as a long-term storage. So this rewiring of brain is what is called as brain plasticity. So what exactly does that mean? So we will watch this short video that will help us understand what I mean by plasticity. So seeing this animation will help you. So I will play the video. In case the audio is not clear, please let me know so that I can reshare it.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well-travelled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep travelling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
Okay, was it audible?
Oh, yes, yes.
So, so what does this? What did we learn from this video? There is a very, very important take-home point from this, that brain can change, brain can learn. So it is the thought that we usually end up labeling our children as, this person is not intelligent, this person is intelligent. All these are actually, those labeling has to stop. It is by labeling that we are making that child what we expect that child to be. So the brain has the capacity to learn, unlearn, relearn. Though it is not an easy process, it has the capacity. If a particular child is not able to learn, it is not because the child is not capable of learning. There may be some disabilities, but it's not with every child. Every child is not born with disabilities. It can be just a very simple reason that the child is not motivated enough, is not excited enough. The way we are trying to, the environment where the child is not helping the child to be curious to learn. The child is bored in that environment. So what we can do is to try and inspire the child, try to motivate, try to get that curiosity in children be alive. If we can do that, any child, until and unless there is a physiological problem in the development itself, every child can learn. Even if they have, there will be a discussion later during the workshop by Mrs. Akila Vasu. There are learning disabilities, and there are ways to deal with it. There are learning difficulties, and there are ways to deal with it. So we should not have that fixed mindset about the whole process. We should start thinking, if a child is not doing well, as a parent, as an educator, or as a elder in the house, it's important to understand why. Ask ourselves, why is that child not able to learn? That becomes very, very important. So moving from that fixed mindset to a mindset where we accept that the child can learn is important. So the brain then has different parts, and these parts, each part of the brain is responsible for certain actions, and accordingly it gets excited. So during the rewiring and relearning, I was telling that we can change the way we are learning, the change we can excite children. But how can we do it? It is only with the growth mindset, with that mindset that we believe that we can change, the brain changes, we can unlearn and relearn. So how that is possible is by, looking at a problem and making that into an opportunity instead of telling that it is a problem, admiring instead of feeling jealous. Any difficulty we face, we consider that it's a lesson for us to learn. If anything is hard, believe that it is worthwhile to work hard. If we get some feedback, treat it as a feedback, not as a criticism. And of all these points, one that I really uh, believe in is this: from don't know to find out. So when we, as teachers, I think all of us will be able to relate to what happens where there are situations you ask children some question, and you see that the older the children are, you will see more children telling I don't know, and they will leave it at that. The younger they are, they will be trying to find answer. They will ask us question, they will ask us another question back and ask why is it not like that, how does it happen. They will show that curiosity to find out. I think that is where we have to nurture that natural learning in children. So this movement from the fixed mindset to the growth mindset, from I want to do it to yes I did it, is what is very important, and that is the kind of environment we should get into the classrooms and in our houses and in our own self, so that we will stop telling we don't know, but we'll start finding out answers for that. So this point I told, it's very near to me because of the, like I deal with children who are 6-year-olds to 18, 20-year-olds. Some days I will be handling one session for 6-year-olds, and then immediately I will be starting a session for 18-year-olds. I can see this difference, this very, very obvious difference. The little ones are so curious, they don't stop at don't know. But the older they are, it's like, it's okay. We'll tell I don't know, she will give the answer and we'll move on. So that is something that has to stop. We should keep telling children, we should encourage them to find out the answers. That is how we learn. That is a natural way of learning. You get a question, you get curiosity, and to answer that curiosity, to satisfy that curiosity, you go on digging for answers. That is a natural way of learning. And that will happen only when there is a need. So we have to create such an environment. So as teachers, as facilitators, we have to create that environment where the children will be curious, will try to find out answers, and will be encouraged to learn. So when we talk about applying these concepts in neuroscience, what does it tell us? So one thing that we saw is that there is something happening in the neurons in the brain whenever we learn, and those changes, so it's a dynamic system, and these changes needs to happen in the right way. That is a natural way of learning. So it will happen only if you actually create that curiosity in the children and they start finding answers for that. So how do you do that? How do you actually apply it in the classroom? So before we continue that discussion, I would ask all of you to, close your eyes and imagine, think of that one happy moment in your life, any happy moment. Close your eyes and think about that one happy moment. It can be in your professional life, when you're young, when you're adult, with your spouse, with your children, with your family, anything. One happy moment. Close your eyes and think about it. So you're able to see that moment, experience that moment, and where were you? When did that happen? What happened before that? What happened after that? The surrounding, the weather at that time. You will be able to recollect how was the weather, how did you feel, how was, who all was there, where were you sitting, or you may be outside somewhere, and all that, it comes to you, it's in your memory stored. It is a happy moment, so you experience it and it is stored in your memory. So now you can open your eyes. I know that most of you have recollected all these, everything that is connected to that happy moment. And the brain remembers it. How many ever years it is since that happy moment happened, we still remember it. Why? Why is that stored in the memory? That is because of that positive, and the positivity. We were happy, we felt good, we wanted to remember. And that reinforced the brain to retain those connections as memory. So, what does exactly happen when we say memory? So, the brain, when we learn, there are certain regions in the brain. These regions actually store the short term memory. So, what do we call by storing? So, neurons, the brain cells are like our hand. Okay, so you have a long cell with a head and lot of branches like deep tree branches. So they communicate with each other by networking between the branches. Okay, so one branch will communicate with another cell, another branch. So there will be a physical communication between them. So like that, there will be a lot of networking that happens between the cells. Every new experience creates a new network, a new connection which was not there before. So this new connection is temporary initially. The more you reinforce, as they showed in the video, the more this particular connection, that particular experience is reinforced, that particular learning is reinforced, this connection gets stronger and stronger. So how does that happen? For example, all of us we all use mobile phones, and when we use mobile phones, we know that as soon as we change the handset to a new company mobile, it takes us a couple of days to know where things are and stuff. But after that, after using it a number of times, you automatically go there. You don't even feel that you're thinking, though your brain is subconsciously working. So it has become, the path in the brain that was created when you're learning this new way of using the new phone is now, you have done it so many times that it has become stronger. That connection is now stored as a long-term memory. So the same process happens. So when we thought about the happy moment, it's that everything associated with that moment we could recollect. So it's that experience, it's all connected to each other. So whenever we relate something with that experience, with a positive experience, and we learn something in connection to that, we will be learning better. We will be, it will be stored in the memory for a longer time. So why is it important for us to know and apply this in the classroom? So in the classroom, it's important to reinforce learning. If we are just giving a lecture, we are telling, this is how it works, this is how it works, and leave it. It will just be there. The brain listens, and there is some temporary connection in the hypothalamus of the brain that forms. It's just a short-term memory. It's not reinforced. And then we go back, there is another class, then we go back home, we play around with friends, and etc. And there are so many other things that are happening, that in that hypothalamus, different connections are happening. Everything is temporary, everything is short-lived. So then we forget. The next day, or maybe, depends on the individual. So a few days later, you will forget. At that moment when you are listening to the lecture, beautiful, we understood all the concepts. It's a nice story. We even don't write it down. We will leave it at that, said, okay, I know this. I have understood everything. I will go home and write it down. We actually did this. We made children realize this in our sessions. We taught children and we discussed. They were all very happy, all 9-10-year-olds. They learned and they could explain very well and stuff. Then 2 days later, I gave them an exercise that they have to get together in groups. Okay, it was online, so we gave them breakout groups. They got together and they had to recollect the session 2 days back, make notes on that. Because we knew that they had not written down, though we had told write down, they were very well. I remember very well. So 2 days later, we didn't tell anything. We know that if we preach, they will not listen. We don't like anyone telling us doing something. So when we gave them 15 minutes to recollect, then they started realizing. They were like, "Man, that one word, some word you had told, what was that? Sir had told this particular concept. Now I'm not able to recollect." Then we told them, at that time it was there in temporary memory. If you had to remember what you had to do, they said we should have revisited that concept, written down those words, went back and, just had a look at it again. Then we would have remembered it. So we made them realize it, that you have to write down. It's again common sense. As I told, education for neuroscience is common sense in education. We all know this. But how do we encourage children to follow it? It's by experience. They have to do that mistake, learn from that mistake. Then only they remember it. So that giving that experience is important. So when we give a lecture, we are not giving them that experience. We are just transferring our knowledge. So when we transfer the knowledge, it is there temporarily stored. But instead of that, even if you transfer the knowledge or whatever the method you follow in classroom, don't do it in one single way. Make them try it out in different ways. Let them experience, reading about some article or reading an article around it, watching a video, doing a hands-on activity, writing about it. So make them think about the same topic in multiple ways. So it's the same point that they're learning with multiple experiences. So they're not getting bored because there is multiple ways, multiple perspectives. So they're getting something new every time they do it in a different way, learn the same topic in a different way. There are other things that are associated with that experience, which is learning. So it's a new experience every time, though the topic is same. So this will help in making those connections in our brain much stronger, because that path, like reusing the mobile phone, that path is now being traveled more and more, and this gives them that a long-term connection. So those connections get established. So from hypothalamus, it goes to the cortical regions of the brain, depending on which part of the brain is involved in that particular kind of experience, and it will stay there as a long-term memory. So this is what is the main thing, giving that experience of doing experiential learning. Many people think that it is only about experiments. As soon as we say experiential learning, the very common thing that we hear in classrooms or teachers find difficult is they say, you are a science person. It's very easy to give them experiments. So they learn. What about other subjects? So experiential learning is not only about doing experiments or building something every time. It can be experiences in different ways. It can be from reading, from listening, to writing about something, thinking about something, etc. So all these, it's very important to transfer that temporary connection that was established into a permanent connection in the brain. So those stay with us for a longer time. It is exactly like, the best example would be that in a computer, if we have a CPU with some storage, so everything in that is being processed. It's a processor. We have a USB, 2 GB, 8 GB, 16 GB, 32 GB USBs. that we use for transferring stuff. So that temporary storage in that USB, you will be like, once that USB is over, if you don't transfer it into your main computer hard disk, then you will have to rewrite on that USB. There is no other way. So if we don't give them that experience and exposure to revisit that concept in multiple ways, that temporary memory will be lost. They will not be able to see that. So how can we, what are those key points that we have to keep in mind to take education for neuroscience into classrooms? We have to remember that no two brains are alike. Okay, so it's not, we would have all heard about learning styles and different ways and stuff. At the end, we will again be getting back to that point. So the brain doesn't have a fixed, isolated learning style. So there will be one learning style which works good, we are more comfortable with, while the other learning styles also exist. It's like, so you have to have your lessons planned in such a way that all these learning styles are met and the experience will be reinforced. So when many parts of audio, visual, as you saw in that picture about the brain, there are different parts of the brain which get activated. So depending on the different learning styles, different parts of the brain are activated. And this gives working together and networking will lead to better networking between the neurons and the learning will be better. And the brain is goal driven. Okay, so whenever there is a goal, towards something we are working, some aim we are working, it leads to more interconnections in the brain. And very important is curiosity. That curiosity is, leads to retaining new information. It changes the brain activity. And whenever we connect it with a prior experience, prior knowledge, we know something. So we usually do that, right? In the classrooms, when we ask the children what they know, and from there we start discussing about what they don't know, we extend it. So that is again important, because in the brain, there is already a memory over it, which you are reconnecting it. So that is easier to establish and be stored as memory. And the brain needs visuals and interaction. So we learn from each other. That is you would have heard like most of the teachers telling, I am learning now. I started teaching and now is when I'm learning. We would all, I think, agree with that. Only when we teach, we learn better. So bring that into the classrooms. Make them learn from each other. Let the children work, experience and do it. Then their brains will work and learn. If I am going to give a plain lecture, they're all sitting there without, we are just putting them, as if, like a bank, we are putting money into the brain. Like that, we are putting knowledge in their brain. But it is again short-lived, they're bored, they're not doing anything, they're listening to us. But we are learning better because we are redoing things, retelling about it in different ways. So for us, it's a learning experience when we give a lecture, but the learning experience is not effective for the children. So we have to get that in the classrooms. And not only what is happening when we are awake, when we are learning, we are experiencing, there is something happening when we sleep. That is very, very, very important. So losing sleep over competitive exam preparations during the exam time will not help the child in any way. We all have done that mistake. I have done that. My memory is really, really bad. So as a botany student, I had to remember so many names. I could never remember. I study all those plant, genus, species names, and it was very, very, very hard for me. So what I used to do, just before entering the hall, I will have a list of names, all the difficult names that I'm not able to remember, I'm not able to memorize. I look at it so that it is just short-lived. I finished the exam. I was very good in getting marks. I got, I was a rank holder and gold medalist. But did I learn? No, I learned only after that. I have rank certificates, but when I think about it, I feel that I didn't deserve it at all because it was just marks I was getting. But did I learn properly? I would say no. I never learned. I think the learning was very, very less because it was all that temporary memory to paper and then forget it. So next year school starts, then only you think about it. So that we have to move away. So if it has to be stored and all these connections, they're physiological connections. They're not like wires connecting each other. The cell has to grow, extend some connection, and this cell has to extend, and there has to be a talk between these. It is a slow process. It takes time to process and consolidate, and this happens during sleep. So sleeping, healthy sleeping practice is very, very important, which we neglect. We should educate the parents and children and make them realize to have healthy eating and sleeping habit. So what does this picture tell us about? So in the wakefulness, okay, sorry. We are listening to something. Okay, there was some disturbance. So we learn something. Okay, it immediately gets stored in the hippocampus, where it's up in the middle of the brain backside. And this hippocampus is where there is new connection that is established. You can see that there is a connection established between these 4 dots. Consider them as neurons. Now the same connections are not established in the long-term store. It's a very, very small connection, very weak connection that has gone. It needs time. When we sleep, there is the consolidation and processing happening. So from what we learned, that experience that gets completely consolidated and it gets into the long-term store, and there is more clarity established. And when we wake up, now this the temporary region is now free. It has transferred its learning to the long-term memory. So this is free to learn new things. And new things, again, the same process repeats. So when we are sleeping, this is what happens. That is why many a times we get clarity in thoughts when we wake up in the morning. People say sleep over it and then come back. It actually helps. We will have so much of confusion before we fall to sleep. We'll be tensed, we'll not know what to do, which is right, which is wrong. And next day we have a very important task to complete and we don't know, we don't have clarity. But there are moments, we wake up and we have complete clarity on how to go ahead. I think all of us would have experienced this moment one time or the other. So that is because during sleep, there is processing happening, and that is important to apply our thinking and storing it in long-term memory. And this is why you hear of a lot of scientists who dreamt about a concept. They saw the solution to the problem that they were working on in their sleep, or when they woke up, they shouted and came out and told that, I dreamt about it and I understood. A famous example, I'm a chemist, so anyone here with chemistry background would, as soon as we say dream, they will remember Kekule's structure, benzene structure, which he actually dreamt about and came up with that structure. It was not a dream, it was that consolidation which was happening in the brain. So when these new connections have to grow, energy is needed. From where will we get this energy? Lot of glucose is needed for the brain to function. So that comes from healthy nutrition. So children, they're learning so many things. They need more energy for the brain to work, and that comes from good nutrition. So nutrition and sleep are the 2 things that we neglect during our when exams are nearing or we are under stress and we are doing something. These are the 2 things that are very important for whatever we are doing to work well, to succeed. So always keep this in mind that we have to educate children about it. So all these concepts on how we can get this, make things experiential has been designed based on neuroscience as universal design of learning. There's a lot of literature available, and they have especially also talked about UDL for remote learning and digital learning classrooms. So what does this universal design of learning tell us about? Please listen to this carefully. I've been talking continuously, but it is now after this, there is an activity for all of us to do. So listen to this, because this is important for you to accomplish that activity that we are going to do. So there are mainly three things: why, what, and how. The why of learning, the what of learning, the how of learning. And the regions I highlighted here are the brain regions which are activated. How do scientists know about this? How do scientists know about, these are the regions that are activated? There is a technique, all of us would have heard of MRI. There is a version of MRI called functional MRI. So in that, you can actually trigger different, give different experiences to the person, and the different regions of the brain get active, and that can be imaged. Whatever part of brain got activated, that can be imaged. So functional MRI is the technique, the tool that is used to actually understand which part of the brain is active and where we are responding and things like that. That is what is maximum used. That's a very common technique used by cognitive neuroscientists. So there is multiple means of engagement. So by providing, making them get engaged, stay motivated, and give a challenge for them to work on. That gives them the curiosity and keeps them motivated to learn. And what they're going to learn, what of learning, is about different means of representation. How you like gathering information, identifying the process. Okay, so then it is about expression, whatever they learned. So they have engagement, and to provide that engagement, we need to have different means of representations like references and videos and the activities and all planned. And once they learn, they experience that, and they learn how to express. So they have to apply that learning. So that comes under action and expression. Okay, how to express ideas, how to put forth what we learned. So these are the three main divisions. Okay, so based on this, how can we plan? Okay, how can we plan the lesson or our instruction? So I have a small activity for all of you. So here is what we are going to do. So I've been talking, and I think all of your brain is already know I'm lecturing. I'm telling don't lecture, and I'm lecturing. So now it is time to actually get into some experiential learning. So how to do that? So I'm going to create some breakout rooms. Okay, and each breakout room in the chat box you will get a link. So the room number, whatever room number you are in, that room, and there's a link below that to Google Slides. So depending on which room you are in, you can enter that Google slide, and as a group, you will be discussing on, you will select a topic. The first thing you will do is select a topic, any topic, okay, and plan these three things: representation, engagement, and expression. How, as a group, you can sit, discuss, and put those points in those Google slides. So all of you who will have access to that particular Google slide, you can work simultaneously also. So discuss, come up with a common topic that all of you will be interested to work on, and put some points on how we would actually teach that lesson based on whatever we have heard right now. How can you make it more experiential? Remember to give multiple ways of looking at the same things. You will have 10 minutes time. I can extend it to 15 minutes, 5 more minutes, depending on the status of how we are. So I'm going to start the breakout rooms. Any questions related to that? I would like to answer those questions, and then we can go to the breakout room and work. Any questions so far?
Yeah, teachers, if you have got any questions to Dr. Poornima about what she told us now, we can always put forward before we start the breakout room and the activity.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you repeat again what we have to do?
Yes. So I will share the screen and I will show it. I think. So this is the Google slide that you will be, you will be taken to when you click on the link that I will be putting in the chat box. You have representation, engagement, and expression, 3 columns. And it's like representation is different ways in which you will present the content to the student. Engagement is how will you keep them interested, give them the experience of learning. And how will the student demonstrate their learning. So you can, as a team, choose one topic and then make a lesson plan according to this. Put 3-4 points on how you will design that lesson. You can discuss and add the points here. Yeah. Okay. Is that clear?
Okay, do you have any question to ask on the explanation that she did before we go into the breakout room? That's what she wanted. Anything that you didn't understand, anything that you want her to repeat?
I'm sure that everybody don't have a question. Until we try, then we will come up with so many questions.
Yeah, sure. Okay, then we can go to the breakout room.
I have put the room numbers and the links. So now you will be assigned to breakout rooms. So as soon as you go to the room, you will know which link to click to. Okay. So okay, I will just, I'm opening the rooms. So you will get an option to join the room. Please join.
Ma'am, what to do after joining?
You have to discuss. You will have your own team members there. Discuss with them and fill that form.
Okay.
Anyone finding difficulty in joining? So those who have not yet joined, you would have got an option to join. Please click on that join. It will take you to the room. So Anita has not joined. Are you able to join? Is there any difficulty? Taktir, Subedi, Anita, Ved Sharma, not yet joined. Are you there? Please let us know. Ashwini also has not joined. Mr. Prem Prasad, Taktir, and Ved Sharma. Are you able to join? Any problem?
Yes, ma'am. How to join?
Yeah, you have got a join option. Are you able to see that?
Yeah, here is join room number 3.
Room number 3. Yes. You press on that, you will be taken to that room. Ashwini, are you able to join?
Actually, I had joined, but they were talking in Nepali, I think. So I couldn't understand what that.
I will put you into another group.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I will do it. I think you can try now, Ashwini. Nagashri also is out.
Yeah, because Poornima, we are not able to see any link there. So
Is it?
I logged out of the breakout room.
In the chat box, you are not able to see? In the chat?
The thing is, I got disconnected and once again I
Okay.
reconnected. So all the chat, messages have gone.
Which room are you in?
Room 2.
Room 2. Okay, I will send. I have sent the slides. Okay, there is a request from room 1. Yeah, hello.
Okay, Cece.
Yeah, hello. There was a request for help.
Yes,
We
and we
haven't
have
got the topic.
Sorry?
There's no link that has been provided.
It is there in the chat screen. If you go to the chats, if you are disconnected and connected again, you would have lost it. You are in room 1, right? I can reshare the link.
No, it's a chat screen. There's nothing. We've been waiting for it.
Okay. See if you have it now. If you have disconnected, then if you disconnected and connected, you would have lost the thing.
We just got it. Okay, great.
So others, are you able to see the?
No, I'm sorry. I haven't.
I have not seen any message in the chat.
Room number 1.
Yes. Now we got. Okay.
So,
And now we got.
okay, I think I will just reshare it to every one of the rooms.
But there is no topic, right?
You have to select a topic among yourself and then fill that.
Oh, okay.
So you can discuss, introduce yourself, and come up with a topic. So it's for you to interact in smaller groups and just give that opportunity for the participants to interact with each other. Okay, so I will leave the room. You can carry on.
Okay. Thank you.
So Chandana and Sir Ranjan, are you able to join to the room? I think we got disconnected in between. Bimala Adhikari, I think you have just joined. I don't know whether you dropped out of the call. Everyone is working in different breakout rooms. I have assigned a breakout room for you. Could you please join that breakout room? So how is it going, everyone? Are you able to work on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So any questions or any help needed?
Yeah, we have tried.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
We tried, but in that representation, that chart, we are not able to write on.
You have to just click on that box below. If you double click, it will allow you to write like a PPT, PowerPoint slide, how you write, same way you have to write.
Yeah, I double clicked too, but it's not. I
It's not
cannot write
allowing.
it out.
Oh, is
No,
it?
no, we are in two rooms, so we don't. Second
Okay.
room.
So if you're finding it difficult, then write it down and we can talk like instead of troubleshooting it. I don't know.
Yeah,
It has to allow you to write. I will check in the meantime.
It's not working.
Okay. If you double click, that box will highlight.
Yes, highlight.
It's highlight, but
there is a cursor that comes inside that.
There's no any cursor and it's unable to
1 second.
write.
Room 2, right? So can you see me? Is this highlighted here now? The blue box. Can you see?
Yeah, there is a mark, but
Can you see the
okay.
writing? So if you start typing, it will write.
Yeah, okay, yes. Thank you.
Just check if it does.
Again, it's lost.
Because I've given the edit rights, so you will be able to edit the slides.
Oh my God.
Okay, so you better write it down.
It's not.
Points, one of you.
Okay, we have already written that in our paper, but
As far as you have discussed about the points.
yeah, we have discussed.
Okay, then I will go and check in other rooms.
Okay, sure.
Lakshman sir, namaste.
Namaste, sir.
Did you have a good time in the breakout room?
Yeah. New experience.
Yeah. I also had a lot of discussion with the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
it was a new experience.
Yes.
And I experienced being a little baby,
Oh.
kindergarten baby.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So Lakshman sir, where are you from? Where are you?
I'm from Kathmandu itself.
Oh.
I run a school, Ahmedabad school. I'm the
Oh,
principal.
Ahmedabad. Oh, okay. You are the head of the Ahmedabad?
Yeah.
Oh, nice to see you, sir.
Yeah.
We'll connect again in the Facebook also.
Sure.
Okay.
I guess all of us are back.
Okay.
Yeah. So I came to know in some of the rooms that editing the slide was a challenge. It has to be double clicked and done. But I hope that you had an opportunity to discuss about yourself and talk. So I would want a couple of you to share your experience and what was the topic and what you have done. I think we can have 2 or 3 people share what you discussed in the room. Who would want to?
Yeah, I think I would request my group to present. There was Mr. Pandey. Pandey sir, I forgot the name. Akash Pandey.
Okay, sir. Should I present my slide also, or?
Yeah, you can. You
Yes,
can.
yes. Krishna sir.
So this is our slide. Is it visible?
Yes, yes.
We can.
We have three sections in the slide: representation, and engagement, and expression. In representation section, we discussed about the how we can represent. Our main topic is about the water, right? So how can we use water in classroom? First of all, while representing the water, we can take students to different water resources, and we can show them video, and we can tell them the practical use of water, where it is used, like washing, drinking, and we can ask them questions about the use of water, and we can tell them that irrigation and hydroelectricity is possible to the water resource. And these are the representation for the topic water. And while preparing this, we keep in mind that our students are from class 6 and 7 class, and which are 11 to 12 years old. So for engagement, we think that it is better to engage the student in hand washing activities and drinking activities, and we can practically demonstrate the water, like take them in swimming pool also. And for engagement, another point is that we can show the use of water within the school area also, which can be easily done. And lastly, for to make them creative, we can personify water. What I mean to say is, we think water is a human being, and let's imagine them that they are talking with the water, and they have to write the dialogue. So we can engage student in this way also. And for expression, a student can in this section, we make it is practical and practical oriented. So we will tell them that about the maximum use of water with minimum amount of water, and different behavior changing activities. For example, if we are just washing our hand, and that P.S. Nirala sir gave us a beautiful insight on this. He said that if we are washing our hand, and not just wash on the barren land, if we go near the plant, that plant will absorb the water. So with same water, we can wash our hand, and that plant also get water. So in this way, we discussed. And this was all. Thank you.
Okay, beautiful. You know, I actually really love that personifying water and having a dialogue on it. That age kids will get super excited too, and they will have fun as well as they will be able to relate to the topic well. From the group, we can take 2 minutes to discuss about this. The topic is water, and for fifth, sixth grade children. So, any other inputs or points or discussions from the team? It's open for anyone who wants to share their thoughts.
Similarly, for the use of water, we have a cultural values also. Like it's Holi, we can play with water in the Holi session.
Okay. And anything that we can add on to that? No, I think Nirola sir would link it to education for sustainability also.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I think it was in 1995 or 96. I did a project on water wastage and sewerage system in a town, and where we found through the students did the research, and they found that a lot of water was wasted during brushing. The children left the taps open and things like that. So we did a lot of kind of things. Then what we did was, and we also found that the water was highly polluted. The streams were polluted. So it's a kind of on the personification, we made a drama. In fact, I wrote the drama for the children. And the thing is that a lot of people go near the river, and the river was made out of a blue cloth, long one, right from the from the beginning, from the start. Then suddenly when they were washing, some were washing, some were passing stool, and some were drinking, some were doing collecting water. So suddenly actually we kept two female, two girls there with a different dress. So because we normally take water river as a female kind of feminine gender. So these two just stood up and they started crying, and they were telling all sorts of, you see, we were so clean in the beginning, people respected us and things like that, but now people are washing all their clothes and they are throwing all the rubbish and garbage, and they are passing stool and polluting us like that. So I think that was a very good, beautiful drama. So my point was, because while teaching we want to make impact on the brain, because as Dr. Poornima said, unless we make an impact, the neurons won't grow, and it will not make a permanent stamp on the and permanent impact on the brain. So for that, if we dramatize anything as far as possible, role playing in the classroom, within the classroom, very simple role plays would make the children engage themselves. And I think with this engagement, it will remain in their brain forever. Like I tell this example in the training also. Like I always remember a class 3 lesson on Hansel and Gretel. After class 3, I studied for many years. There are so many stories I read, but I forget. I remember only a part of the story, only just a beginning or end or something. But Hansel and Gretel, I remember almost all the story, because we were made to do a small role play within the classroom in class 3. So when I think of that, I always remember myself as I imagine myself, I see myself as a very young small boy with a half pant and no slippers in the village school, and my teacher sitting there and we doing all these things. So I think it has made a very, very permanent impact on my brain. So I think personification and dramatizing role playing is one of the best ways to it can be a good experiential learning also, so to make a permanent impact on the neurological area in our brain. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It's it's that happy memory, that the positivity of that situation. It's a very good example that you gave from your experience, that it stays with us for longer time when we have some positivity associated with our experience. So we can have another one more group. I think we can take time. Who wants to go next and share?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello everyone.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. So we discussed about a class setting in the pre-primary level, where we will be teaching the students about the concept of shapes. And as a representation, we would be presenting them the examples that are easily available in the classroom setting, like the windows, doors, the blocks, picture frames, football, which will represent different shapes. And as an activity for engagement, we will ask them to do a shape hunting activity. We can either do this inside a classroom, or we can also take them outside the classroom as well. And the other activity which we can do is making them to craft something. It's like making them to cut the papers into different shapes, where they will know about the different type of shapes. And to make the students demonstrate their learning, what we can do is like a teacher calls out a shape, and we can ask the students to go to a place where the shape actually is placed in the classroom. In this case, we will also have them more active in their motor functions as well. They don't have to sit in their chair and respond, but they will rather be moving around the classroom. And the other thing is ask them to make a human body where the human face would represent a circle, the nose would represent a semicircle, and etc. etc. We also did discuss about comparing size, but I don't think we should go further than this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for sharing it. Anyone wants to discuss or add any points, suggestions on this topic?
Ma'am, like sir said, comparison, small and big size similar objectives, right? We can do comparison between two different shapes also. What is the shape of this, sir? What can you find the difference between these two shapes? That type of comparison also we can do related to this.
I would like to add in, being a kindergarten teacher, this is already being implemented. And we introduce big and small concepts showing objects. So practically we demonstrate anything based with an activity. And also now that it is online, which is very challenging for the little ones, so we get them to get a big and a small object and tell and share their experience. So then to break the monotony, and online is different and very difficult for the little ones. So with an object, they're enthusiastic to come and show. So that is where we've been working. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for sharing your experience. Yes, anyone else? Okay.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes.
Like the expression part, should we should we just leave it to the imagination of the students, or is it something we should tell them like do this, and should we guide them towards how they should express?
So you can actually, I guess, give them an opportunity. Like if you tell them anything in under the sky, then it is difficult for the children to choose and do it. So we can give some guidance, and under that give them opportunity to use their individuality and creativity. That would, if you, for example, if you ask them to come up with a picture using different shapes, you give them 3 shapes in this scenario, a circle, a triangle, and a square, and ask them using these 3 shapes, come up with a creative drawing or something like that. There is like a puzzle kind of thing. So we are giving them a broader idea, but under that, when they're using their creativity also. I think such kind of guidance would work with smaller children, because they will find it hard otherwise to come up with anything. But at the same time, we can always tell them that we can keep it open. If the child is able to be creative and come up with its own way of expression, we should give that room for the child. So we can tell that this is something that we suggest. Do you have any other idea? You can do it. I think.
Yeah, agree. And as you said, I think maybe for the older children, we can give them more freedom. Or yeah. Thank you.
So
actually, the younger ones come up with their concepts within their environment or their observation and their surroundings. So it's very easy to relate with the younger minds, because they're familiar and they come out. Like when you're relative with perspective, imagination is something we encourage, but beyond 5 years is something the psychologists or various people who have conducted workshops says is a concern. Like the child before the age of 5 should be able to understand what is relative and present and imaginative. If the child goes beyond, then I think they need some intervention of psychological concepts, and this one. They need that assessment and overall. but a child's imagination we don't prevent at a young stage.
Okay.
But to identify if the imagination is extending beyond 5 years is a matter of concern, is what many have shared.
Okay.
Okay, I think during Akila ma'am sessions, this point can be, extended and highlighted. And when we say imagination, this goes beyond what does it mean. I think that requires more deeper discussion. So so when we actually, see, the way you can provide representation, engagement, and express. These are some of the different ways that are listed here that can be used as methods for making the learning more experiential. So this is one saying that actually, it's from the book How We Learn. Pedagogy is like medicine, an art, but one which is based or should be based on precise scientific knowledge. So it's like we have to have a scientific basis on what we follow in our pedagogy, and then it will become more, effective, and the learning will be more enjoyable. So that is where neuroscience come into picture. So neuroscience, education for neuroscience is like you have the neuroscience, the psychology, the physiology, the psychology, and the experience. All the three, help in making learning more effective when we take the concept of how brain learns into the classroom. And so yeah, I had a small video, I think it's an 8-minute video which actually summarizes whatever we have discussed with a proper framework. So before I start this video, I have, I will summarize what we have done till now, so that discussed, and in this video they actually put it into a perspective of experiential learning and on how we learn, and that will help us put all these things into one proper format and then take it to the classrooms. So basically there are mainly 3 things that we have to keep in mind. One is that the brain can rewire. It is continuously learning and unlearning and relearning. So we need not label a child. What we need to do is help the child to actually become a good learner and stay. That is by motivating and inspiring. So when we say motivation, giving them goals and prizes and grades and some surprises are external motivation. That stays till you achieve that. You have a gift and you get the gift, you are done. Your motivation is gone. But the intrinsic motivation is what we need to nurture in the children, which naturally is present, but we should not spoil it. That is where, it's a huge challenge. And the second point is that when we are learning something, see to that we learn, revisit it in multiple dimensions, multiple perspectives, so that it gets reinforced and gets into the long-term memory. And the third, very important, is eating right and sleeping right is very much important at any age for us to remain in lifelong learning journey. Every experience, everything, not only according to the subjects or school grades, it's very important in life. We are learning every minute in our personal experience. So it's very important to educate children, parents, and generally any human being, I think, should adopt the concept of neuroscience on how we learn. So I would like to mention about experience. It really impacted on me when I heard about that person's experience. It is Dr. Scott Boland. He is a very famous cognitive neuroscientist. And when he was born, there were some complications, and the doctor had told that if the child survives, his brain development will be affected. So his mother gave birth to him. He was slow till his high school. He was very slow in learning language. There's a TEDx talk by him, Scott Boland. where he shares his experience. You know, till high school he was mentioned as a failure because he was not good at anything. But today he's one of the top 1% scientists who's working on cognitive neuroscience. He has his own startup on artificial intelligence, and he's revolutionizing the field of education. So he says the turning point was when he understood how to learn. He started working on those aspects, what makes learning effective. So that exposure made him, you know, actually learn better. He had the problems from birth. So there was some developmental problem, but still he could do it. So if he could do it, I think any one of us can do it. And it's never late to actually realize and start relearning. And all of us are in that journey of unlearning and relearning. And we need to educate children about the importance, the science behind it, give them the logic. See, this is why I'm telling you this. It's not just because I'm telling you need to do that. Make them aware of it. I think from there they will take it on and they will know how to find answers. So I think it's already 7:20, so we can spend time on discussion, and I will share this video link in the chat screen. You can all save the video link and watch it and have that link with you. I think it will definitely help everyone. I'll just put up the link. So in the meantime, any particular, anything that you want to discuss or share, the forum is open for discussion now.
So anything that needs to be repeated, I think we can all ask Dr. Poornima, and this video will be a thing. And I think she is also going to give us a link on what I think we can read something kind of attachment.
So this is the video. I think it's good if you can all watch this video before Pradeep's session. You will have, I think it will be more, you will see how interactive the session will be. And during that interaction, this some concepts that are shared in the video would help you in discussing and, discussing on experiential learning. So this is the link, and the video I was talking about, there is this TEDx talk by Dr. Scott Boland, and I'm going to share that also in the video. He has shared his experience, and he has linked he has shared some of the experiments they do. It's very interesting to see how they actually develop and do experiments on cognitive aspects, how brain works, and how they're extending it to artificial intelligence. We are depending on Alexa and Siri more these days, and that comes from artificial intelligence. So this would be a very thought-provoking video. And in the first video that I have shared, they have even mentioned about some books and works by certain people or educationists that would act as a very good reference. A couple of books there actually is very helpful, and I hope it will help you all in your journey of learning. So, are there any?
I'm sure there are a few questions for you.
Yeah.
Friends, you can ask Dr. Poornima about what you want to know more about Lakshman sir. I think he's eager to ask. Amar sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Krishna sir.
I have no question regarding the presentation, regarding the ma'am's talk, but I actually enjoy this slide, ma'am. This is very good slide, very best slide. It is just like we are watching video. So how did you make this? I really like this.
Okay, thank you. So this is from Prezi, Prezi, Prezi.com. this gives templates for us to make slides where they're animated. So there are already existing templates, and basic templates and are free to use. And if you have to download it as a video, then you have to have a paid version. But otherwise, you can use this and present it through the online. That is what I am doing. So they have very good designs for such animated presentations.
Okay. And I want to say something for the organizer, that we are already here, 41 participants, and this is our community. So I want to build, take this community for a long time also. So if the organizer make a Facebook group or something like that group, so that we will be connected on later on also, and we can connect it with our mentors also, teachers also. So
Yes, sure. We will have a
organizers should think
group
about this
created.
also.
Yes, definitely. We will be having a group created for that. We have Facebook page. Both Smart Minds has a page, and even there is a page by Vismaya Center called Edu Makers. We will share the link with all of you to be a part of Facebook community where we can interact. And what we are trying to build is also the community of teachers who can learn from each other and make our classrooms more effective.
Ma'am, I have a question. One question, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have a question. My question is that my question is like that. When some student is like that, or someone told them he is not learning, or otherwise, as
Okay, just 1 second. I think someone needs to be muted.
I think Minu ma'am, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's okay.
Okay. Yes, sir. When some student.
Okay. Sometimes a student is like that. He cannot learn from this step. After this step, how can we redesign his brain?
Okay.
He think about that. I cannot relearn afterward. How can we redesign his brain? You call show.
Okay, so basically, yes, there are certain that is where the psychology comes into picture. We will have to understand whether there is some developmental problem, or there is some physiological problem in the development of the brain itself, or is it because of some emotional or environmental pressure that the child is not able to learn. Once we understand that, we will be able to help the child. And the session on learning disability and learning difficulty by Akila ma'am actually will be on how to identify this, whether the child is finding it difficult to learn or is there a disability. And if we know that, how to take it forward with the child. So during that session, sir, we will be discussing more about these aspects. I think we'll wait for Akila ma'am's session and have a discussion on that.
Sure.
Thank you.
So
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, do you have a real experience of transforming some what we so-called dull students to brilliant students? Do you have experience on that?
Yeah, actually, there are moments when before even I was a teacher, when I've actually helped my friends by just being encouraging and motivating and helping them out. There are some instances, but one recent experience that we had was not with a student who is dull or anything. It was that with this online education, there is lack of inspiration. Children are not able to get that excitement to learn and stuff like that. So there was one parent whose daughter is 6-year-old. She actually shared that through our experiential learning and inquiry-based learning, where basically we first become the friends with children. We befriend them. So give them that comfort in the classroom and allow them to talk. We we question them. We try to, we make them move around, go find things around them and talk about it. So when we gave that kind of a curiosity generating experience, they have actually seen that the child is now more enthusiastic to actually finish the homeworks, and they like whatever assignment we give, they're excited to do it. They finish it before the parents are asking them. Before they had to ask parents, parents had to remind the kid that you have a homework, finish it. But now, because they are excited, they are motivated to learn and share it with us, they are doing it on their own. So that was one, this 2 days back, the parent was sharing with us. And also we had a student last year who was not even allowed to be in the level grade he was supposed to be there. And he was put 2 years with the 2-year younger children in the school. And they decided to open school him and make him write the exam privately. And in 6 months, he finished, 2 years of learning. So he was supposed to be in 10th and he was in 8th standard. So as soon as he finished 8th, in 6 months, he actually learned in both 9th grade and 10th grade and wrote the exam in open schooling. And they just wanted him to pass, but he actually cleared the exam scoring around 72%. So which was a very happy thing for us. It's not about the amount of time, the amount of syllabus that is there. It is just about how we actually interact with the child and motivate them and not pressurize them. Basically, I think that working with the psychology is more important when we are working with such sensitive children. There is a question on whether there is a
Hello.
dumb brain and excellent brain exists.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Ma'am, since beginning, we are talking about this, how learning works. So in the meantime, so there was a statement made, eating right and sleeping right. So it struck me a lot. So what is the correct procedure or what is the correct way to manage this eating right and sleeping right, and how it brings the positive changes in child's brain on learning? Please, ma'am, I would be grateful if I get the elaboration. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure. Thank you for the question. So when we say sleep right, around 8 to 9 hours of sleeping is important for a child. Even for elders, right amount of sleep is important because it's not only about only the learning and rewiring of the brain. There are a lot of other things. We say we are resting, but actually the body is not resting when we are sleeping. It is just a physical rest, but inside our body, lot of things, lot of processes are happening which are important to keep the body healthy. So one of that is this, consolidation of what we have experienced that day. That is why when we dream also, we dream, if you can actually think, okay, I was thinking about that during the day and I got that person in the dream. Or there will be some kind of link to our experience and what we have dreamt most of the time. That is because of this consolidation that is happening in the brain. So, and having a routine, the biological clock is different. There are some people who are more active towards the second half of the day and stuff. So each biological clock is slightly different, but we have to identify our, the right time and stick to it. So 8 hours of sleep is something that is absolutely needed for a proper healthy routine. And when it comes to nutrition, especially for the children, carbohydrates form a very important part. having healthy, enough glucose is important. So balanced diet, making them aware of balanced diet, and making them understand about how junk food will just fill our stomach and it is tasty, but it doesn't give us enough carbohydrates and glucose for the brain to work. So most of the curriculum, if we see, around the age when children are able to think and understand what is happening, around 8 years and above, they start talking, the chapters actually start a discussion on food and nutrients and what kind of food is available. So a good balanced diet and balanced sleep routine. So that tells us that we have to be organized and structured. So that is important.
Thank you so much, Amar sir, for asking this question. Now, I think we're towards the end of today's session. Tomorrow we will have Pradeep sir on experiential learning in relation to what is being discussed today. So at the end, I would like to request somebody from this group to just wind up with your little feedback and things like that. So anybody?
I have left a message of a link for leaving your feedback.
Yeah.
I'm going to repost it. So you can go to that link and you can leave your feedback about the session, whatever, the suggestions or what you learned, what was the take home point. Please feel free to express your feedback through the link. Thank you.
Yeah. So may I request somebody to just wind up today's meeting, today's session? Vinod sir can do it, or Dawar sir can do it, or Anita ma'am can do it, Bimla Adhikari ma'am, whoever is, or Lila Khatri ma'am can also do it. Vijay sir, Vijay is
sorry, what do I have to do?
Just to wind up today's session, just to talk about a little bit about today's session and just say.
Okay.
Yeah, just to give a kind of a ending note.
Actually, what I would like to say is I would like to thank the organizer first, and then of course for that, ma'am. Few days ago, I just filled up the form, and then I talked to Sunil sir, because in a breakout room we discussed a little bit about my background. I am not a teacher. I am a mountaineer, and then I am being mountaineer, and the Sunil sir asked me, "Do you have any institution or do you have any schools?" I said, "No." Is that mean that I cannot join the course? And he said, "No, you participant, you can do individually." Okay, I would like to. And then personally, I dropped my education years of 11 and I start working in the trekking profession, carrying 60-70 kilos of weight for tourists. Okay, and then that times I couldn't read and write my name in English, even forget about the speaking. And then like all these things that I feel is like, hey, only go to school and then reading a book doesn't mean everything. And then and also having a master's degree on your pocket, reading a book, it doesn't mean anything. That's we have to know practically. That's today's session, like more or less like we saw the videos, we saw some kind of pictures. That means like we also discussed in our breakout room. Like now I also know, and I'm trying, being like I dropped my education in years of 11 in a grade 5 in primary school, but now I'm planning to teach this kind of things in our village areas teacher, how you have to teach a student. Now there's a ramp, there's the pictures, there's a computer, there's so many things. Like we have to balance like a digital and analog. I used to say analog, which is our old fashioned. Like when I was there in school level, I have to say A. The teacher says say A, and if I didn't say A, then I'll get a 1 stick on my back. But now we have to feed a chocolate, say, hey, if you say A, or if you say something 1, I will give you 1 chocolate. See how different it is. And then in our most of the remote area, is still the same teaching pattern is going on, so that it doesn't matter like some our elder says organized should run this kind of course more and more. I'm joining so many this kind of course. It doesn't mean that I have to be a teacher. I would like to know, and then I can at least tell the teachers this is the teaching different way. I don't need to get into the subject matter. So that's this kind of things, and then this kind of teaching professions are in different country is like they already have it. That's where if you go to the Rams, there's so many different English and Indians and this and that Rams coming out. Rarely we could find few Nepalese Rams for the student, even in Kathmandu. That means we are way behind. So how can we do better? This kind of session, we need more and more, each and every different, even the home school, home tuition, this kind of learning environment, we need more. Even when our Amar sir asked the question about the eat well and sleep well, when I was a student, even my parents and my teacher said, if you sleep long time, you be like you are like a pig. Huh? If you eat too much, you are like a bear. You eat whole night and next day you always run the toilet. Like eat half stomach and half stomach you have to learn. This is shit things that I know later on, that how we feel is like I just eat half stomach and I go to school in our remote area, walking 30 minutes. When I get to school, I start starving again. See, how can we pay attention? It doesn't matter. That's why we always been beaten by teachers like say, hey, we can't say we, because our mind is how when we get into home and then we eat something else. It doesn't matter good or bad things to eat, but we are always thinking, our mind is always there. See, nowadays we have to eat well. We have to feed them well and that's eat it. Yeah. And then they partly, sometimes I used to share my experience for a mountaineer, and then I don't keep my participants or whatever it is the person who joined my session. I don't keep more than 30 minutes, more than 15 minutes in my room. That's just let them work like ma'am did some group work, like some video was. That means change the mind. Like if we feel boring and then yeah, see the videos, something new, and then later on when we come back to class, we can pay attention, we can concentrate on the subject. That makes huge difference in my experience. I'm sure all of these participants that we had 41 people joining here. There are professor, there are school teacher, there are principal. I really respect. And then I definitely joined all the way into the course, and I'm happy to be here, being kind of ground floor peoples with a high graded professor as teachers. Thank you very much for today's sessions, and I will definitely join for whole season. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawa sir. Thank you so much for letting us know that you are a mountaineer and you didn't go to school, but still you speak so nice English. It's all because you have done it many times practically, and it's all in your brain. You speak much better than many people. So, and you have a lot of experience, a lot of real experience. So thank you so much for sharing and joining this session. But I think as an individual also, I think we should be learning a lot of things on what 21st century skills are, because we are trying to pass on, trying to tell more about what we should know as a human being also, not only a teacher, but as a human being, what should we know, so that we can pass on the best values to our children. So that is what we are trying to do now in this 6 days. So thank you so much once again. And I have also passed on the link of Facebook page, where you can like the Facebook page of Smart Minds, and also Poornima ma'am also passed on the link of Agile, Shira, and also the Visa. So you can always like the page, and we can always be connected, because we always update the page, and Facebook page is the best where we can connect, and we can also connect personally. And my name is Poornima V. If you look in the Facebook page, you can see Edu James there, because Edu James is one online platform from Finland where they teach about sustainability, approach of teaching. And Dr. Poornima is going to be the country rep for India very soon, and she's already coordinating a lot of things from India. And I am the country rep for Nepal, and also the international director for training and training and management. So you can always connect us for further training from abroad also. So with this, I think my FB name is Parsuram S. Niraula. Parsuram S. Niraula, and you can see Edu James logo there with my name. So you can find it out, and we can always connect. I'm already connected to many of you here. Like Leela ma'am is already connected, and I can see Rinku ma'am.
Excuse me.
Here. Yeah.
Sorry, Parsuram, so sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Lots of links have been pasted here in the chat box.
Yeah.
So lots of links are here. Can it be managed well that we can get it? Lots of chats are here. Now we need to find this out. It creates a confusion.
Yeah.
So can't we get this all link collected in a managed way and can
Yeah.
get it?
Yeah, what we can do is when we send out you the certificates, we can send you all the links once again.
Okay.
And
also
the recordings.
Thank you very much. So nice.
So that you can have a repeated watch. You can watch again, and you can have a better view of what we have done.
The same.
So Poornima ma'am, I think she's turning that all into kind of what we call that YouTube. So we'll have a YouTube link for all these recordings. So don't worry, we will keep this in mind and send you everything.
Can I request one thing, please?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure how the schedule is going on, because when you introduce your all the trainers, there's 6 or 7 trainers included.
Seven people, yeah.
7. So will you divide it day by day, or all trainers and trainees will be here? Because what I'm thinking is like, for example, we didn't think when Poornima ma'am says, "Do you have any question?" We didn't realize what to ask, right? So maybe within 2-3 days we said, "Oh yeah, this question maybe this is question related to Poornima ma'am. Can we? It is possible to have all the trainees all the day, or we can ask for other people as well."
Yeah, most of the days we will be all here.
Okay.
But because of some reasons or the other, we may not be here for full time unless we have the full kind of session. So you can always ask the question, and we can keep the question for the person specifically. Then maybe you will get the answer. Or what we can do is, you can always, because you have already we will be sending you email. We have already sent you the email, so you can always ask the question in the email, and we will send it to the specific person. Then maybe you will get the answer. So
okay,
So
thank you.
I have shared the schedule. So tomorrow it will be Pradeep sir, and then on Tuesday it's on importance of EST and integrated learning, curriculum design. Then on Wednesday it is on learning difficulties. Then on Thursday on personal branding, and Friday the concluding session will be on the leadership aspects.
yeah, so you can do a screenshot of this and keep it. We'll go according to this routine.
Yeah, fine. I'm not asking about the routine. I'm just
yeah, it's just
let
for the
us
reference.
know all the trainees will be here or not.
Yeah. No, we will be here mostly.
We will be here.
Most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes like it's very honestly, it is very thankful to have like emails. We can ask some questions through email.
Yeah,
but
definitely we'll share. What I will do is I will put all the links in a document, and tomorrow in the chat screen, initially itself, I will share all the detail, all these links again. So every day I will put it up in the chat screen along with our email IDs, so that you can download that file itself and keep it for reference.
Yeah. From my personal point of view, again, respect to all the participants. They are all teachers. But for me, it's like having email is very kind from you guys, but verbal is more effective. You can give a different way. If the little piece of paper or little emails works, why the peoples have to go school and college? They just simply can read. Why we need teachers, right? So verbal is more effective for me personally. That's why I'm asking. Sorry for that.
We will try that, sir. We will make sure that it's face to face or virtually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now I think we have to thank all of you because many of them have left because of their time, because we are already 15-20 minutes in overshot the time, but thank you for remaining until the end, those who have remained, and we'll see you tomorrow exactly at 5:30 India time and 5:45 Nepal time. So thank you so much for being so patient and eager to learn. Tomorrow we have Pradeep sir with experiential learning. So good night and
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, Nirol sir.
Yeah, thank you, Ranjan.